You are sitting comfortably, scrolling your mobile and enjoying your time. Then suddenly, someone appears. It may be a senior at your workplace or a relative at a family gathering. They stand next to you and start talking. Not about you, but about themselves, their achievements, their importance, and their opinions. You are listening patiently, but after some time, you gather courage and try to say something. But before you can finish your sentence, they cut you off. Oh, that reminds me of my story. And just like that, they quickly redirect the conversation back to themselves. And when you finally leave that interaction, you feel as if your energy has been pulled away. This is narcissism. A narcissist is someone who believes that he is the main character in every story. In psychology, narcissism refers to a personality pattern where a person has an inflated sense of importance, a deep need for admiration and lack of empathy. In their opinion, everything is about them. Their feelings matter more, their stories are more important, and their achievements are more impressive. And your role? To listen, to admire, and occasionally, to clap. Now here's the tricky part. Narcissists are not always obvious. In fact, many of them are extremely charming in the beginning. They can be confident, charismatic, funny, and even inspiring. You might meet them and think, wow, this person is amazing, and they will agree with you. But over time, patterns begin to appear. You notice they interrupt people constantly. They rarely admit mistakes. They exaggerate their achievements like they are narrating a documentary about their own greatness. And somehow, every conversation ends up being about them. You could start by talking about the weather, and 5 minutes later, they're explaining how their personality is just like the weather. Powerful, unpredictable, and admired by all. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but why do narcissists behave like this? Were they just born like this? Did they wake up one day and decide, yes, today I will make everything about me? Not exactly. Modern psychology suggests that narcissism develops over time and usually has roots in childhood. One theory suggests that narcissism can develop when children receive excessive praise without realistic feedback. If a child constantly hears things like, "You are better than everyone else," "You can never be wrong," eventually, the child may begin to believe that admiration is not optional, it is their natural right. So, when they grow up, they expect others to praise them all the time. But there's another side to the story. Some narcissists are actually created by the opposite experience. Instead of too much praise, they receive too little emotional support. They grow up feeling ignored, criticized, or undervalued, and to cope with that, they build a protective shield. An exaggerated self-image, a version of themselves that feels powerful, important, and untouchable. So sometimes, behind the arrogance, there is insecurity. And modern society doesn't exactly help. Social media rewards attention. The louder you are, the more you get noticed. The more dramatic you appear, the more engagement you receive. So for some people, narcissistic behavior gets stronger with time due to the excessive praise they get. Now here's where it gets interesting. Not all narcissists are the same. Psychologists usually divide them into different types. The first type is the grandiose narcissist. This is the classic version. These individuals walk into a room with the confidence of someone who believes the room was built for them. They love attention and enjoy admiration. They talk about their success like it's a global achievement. If something good happens, it's because of their brilliance. But if something bad happens, it's because the world failed to recognize their brilliance. They often appear in leadership roles, competitive environments, or anywhere status matters. And honestly, at first, they can be impressive. Until you realize they are not listening to you. They are just waiting for their turn to speak again. The second type is the vulnerable narcissist. This one is more subtle, emotional, and sometimes the most confusing type. Instead of appearing confident, they often appear insecure. They may complain quietly, but the core belief is still the same. They still feel special. They still believe they deserve attention. The difference is that when they don't get that attention, they feel deeply hurt. They might say things like, "No one understands me. No one appreciates what I do." So instead of acting superior, they act like a misunderstood hero. Then we have the malignant narcissist. This is where things get serious. Malignant narcissists combine narcissism with manipulation, aggression, and sometimes even cruelty. These are the people who don't just want admiration, they want control. They may lie, they may manipulate, and may twist situations to make themselves look like the victim or the hero, depending on what benefits them more. And the scary part? They often do it without guilt. In workplaces, families, and relationships, this type can be extremely toxic. Okay, now comes the most important question. How do you deal with a narcissist? You cannot always fight the narcissists. They might be your boss, your colleague, or your relative. So instead of trying to change them, focus on changing how you respond to them. The first rule is to set clear boundaries. Narcissists have a habit of pushing limits. They may expect your time, your attention, and your energy whenever they want, as if your schedule exists solely for their convenience. That's why you need to decide what is acceptable and what isn't. You don't need to deliver a dramatic speech or write a 10-page explanation. Sometimes a simple sentence like, "I can't do that right now," is more than enough. They may not like it, but that's okay. Boundaries are not meant to make narcissists comfortable. They're meant to protect your peace. The second rule is to stop seeking their approval. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make. Narcissists are usually not good at giving genuine appreciation because they are too busy looking for appreciation themselves. If your happiness depends on hearing "well done" from a narcissist, you'll probably be waiting for a very long time. Instead, learn to validate yourself. Respect your own efforts and acknowledge your own achievements. Waiting for a narcissist to appreciate you is like standing in front of a mirror and expecting it to compliment your outfit. A mirror reflects you. It doesn't admire you. The third rule is to stay emotionally neutral whenever possible. Narcissists often feed on emotional reactions. Anger, frustration, arguments, and drama keep the conversation alive and give them exactly what they want: attention and control. The calmer you remain, the less power they have over you. Think of it as refusing to participate in a TV show where someone else desperately wants you to play the supporting villain. Stay calm, stay polite, and don't give them the emotional performance they're hoping for. Finally, remember that sometimes the healthiest solution is simply distance. Not every relationship can be repaired, and not every person is willing to change. If someone repeatedly manipulates you, drains your energy, or constantly disturbs your peace of mind, it's perfectly okay to step back. Creating distance isn't selfish, it's self-respect. At the end of the day, understanding narcissism isn't about judging or labeling people. It's about recognizing behavioral patterns so you can respond wisely instead of emotionally. Once you understand how narcissists operate, something interesting happens. You stop taking their behavior personally. You stop questioning your own worth every time they criticize or ignore you.